just watched a really great video about Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, owning McGraw-Hill, the textbook company that has a monopoly in private schools and public schools all across the U.S. But do you know who owns it now? Because that, to me, matters more in this moment. And I want you to understand who is controlling the narrative that is teaching your children right now. And I don't think you're going to like it. So if you don't know, Platinum Equity owns McGraw-Hill. They acquired them in 2021. But who owns Platinum Equity? Well, I'm going to tell you. Platinum Equity is a private equity firm that was founded and is operated out of Beverly Hills, California by Tom Gores. Now, who is Tom Gores? Where's he from? What's he all about? And why is he controlling all of the textbooks in America? Thomas Gores was born in Nazareth, Israel, and then he matriculated to Michigan, where he grew up and became a big player, billionaire in American politics and in American industry. Now, I talk a lot about private equity, but Platinum Equity is known for some horrifying investments, especially in the for-profit prison system and exploitation racket and in the education system. I want to show you how they're creating monopolies that are single-handedly driving up costs for the poorest people and the people with the least amount of leverage in America. Now, in addition to owning the Detroit Pistons, why do they all own sports teams? Why? They also own Jostens and McGraw-Hill, which have monopolies on contracts with schools everywhere in every public school system in America. You know, that company that has every photograph that's ever been taken of your child and controls it and its likeness. You know, that company that has a full-on monopoly for all class rings, all graduation materials, everything that you have to buy that has a price that's fixed, that is exploitative so poor people can't afford to graduate and have the things that everyone else can have. They own them, of course. And McGraw-Hill, which has a near monopoly on the entire school book industry in the United States. But wait, there's more, because what I want to talk about is an investment they made in a company called Securus. Now, Securus was a company that created technology to enable communication between prisoners and their families outside of for-profit prisons. And it's amazing because as soon as they acquired Securus, Securus got monopoly contracts on an entire massive prison system. And suddenly what happened was the prisoners were cut off from in-person visits. They said, we don't have in-person visits anymore. No. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to make it where you have to use these external phone systems, and that's the only way you can see your relatives. But it comes with a price. There's no more free visitation. And what happened after that is horrifying. In 2024, multiple civil rights organizations filed civil lawsuits against Securus that said that once they entered the jail system in Michigan, what happened was they hiked up the pricing on calls to families so that you were paying a minimum of $12.99 to $20.99 to see your kid for your visitation. Only prisoners don't have $12.99 to $20.99. So if you didn't have money, you didn't get to see your children or your family anymore, when they could have come to visit for free in person prior to this. Now, they started charging 21 cents per minute for phone calls that were not video calls. And then they set up a kickback scheme where 50% of every one of those phone calls was getting kicked back to the county to stop people from seeing their relatives, their children, their family members, their friends. And the contract went further. It had a minimum guarantee that they would get at least $190,000 in kickbacks for the county for forcing these prisoners to use this system. Now, study after study has shown that when prisoners are given access to a strong support and family network, they are much more likely to actually reform themselves and do well coming out of prison later. But if you're in the for-profit prison system, you don't care about that. You want that revolving door spinning like this. Now, let's talk about how our education system plays a critical role in how our young people are trained to either move into success or failure and on track to a prison system. The prison and public school pipelines to prison is a well-known and established problem in the United States. It's oftentimes the way that they choose where to build for-profit prisons is looking at the third grade reading levels of people in public schools in a given area. And when they see that the reading levels are very low, they know that 15 years from now, the prison need will be higher. And that's how they choose where to build for-profit prisons. So you have to understand that controlling our education system, controlling our scholastic programs, is also creating a pipeline to the prison system. And private equity has their hands in all of it. But it's also how we instill and shape public opinion from an early age. And I want to show you one of the ways that they're doing it for adults in America, because they also happen to Cision and Centerfield. Now, if you're not familiar with Cision, Cision is literally the leading technology provider for tracking and shaping PR and marketing narratives in the United States and the world. They control and track every Google reference, mention, PR, press release. They control everything that shapes public narrative and public opinion on any and every given issue. And they are also owned by Platinum Equity. I don't like coming on here and being doom and gloom. I don't like coming on here and talking about private equity constantly. It's dark. But people have to start to recognize that the entire world has become monopolized and controlled by the hands of 100 people that literally control everything we buy, everything we do, everything our children learn, everywhere that we take our kids, everything we read online, everything that happens in prison systems and foster care and everywhere in between. And if we don't wake up and start passing some referendum laws to bring an end to it, we're not going to be able to bring it back in. We have got to start making a difference and demanding more. And this is not a one-party problem. Both parties take this money. Both parties benefit financially from this entire system. Both parties leave Congress and run off to sit on boards of directors at private equity firms. Ask Kristen Sinema. She just did it again. All right? So you have to understand that these people don't serve us, but we have to start serving one another, and we can do it through passing referendum laws, getting private equity out of home ownership, getting private equity out of monopolistics, passing new regional antitrust and monopoly laws at our state level. We can make a difference, but we actually have to try. And if you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and we work together to fight private equity and save small businesses in our community.